So in your experience, what makes sense in an apartment deal? What would you say makes, when you looked at it, you've underwritten it, you got your deal flow coming to your table, you say, no, this is it, no, this is it, this is it. What makes sense in an apartment deal?
It all starts with market selection, right? So it all starts with market selection. And I say that because Texas, I have seen, like I was saying, right? I mean, single family homes, apartments, let's take apartments, right? Okay. I'm not talking about ancient history, 7 to 8 years back. Mid-2015 is when I started looking at commercial deals. At the time, these apartments, C-class deals used to trade at $30,000 to $40,000 a door. They used to bring in 2% of the purchase price in rent, meaning if you pay $35,000, the rent was $700.
Yeah.
And the tax assessment was like on 50% on what you paid, property taxes. Insurance was $200 to $250 a door, right?
Yeah.
So basically your OPEX, operational expense ratio was like 40%. So you bring in $1 rent, 40 cents goes back onto the property. You have 60 cents to pay mortgage and to pay your investor's cash flow. That is how it used to be, right? Now let's see, everything is $100,000. I'm talking about C-class here, right? B is obviously like something like 140, 150, and A is like north of 200, right?
Yeah.
So even if you take a C-class property, now it's like $100,000, $120,000, and they don't bring 1% rent. They bring maybe 0.7% of the purchase price in monthly rent. Your insurance is like $1,000 a month. Your taxes are fully assessed on the 100% of the value. Yeah. So the business have changed. That is the point I'm trying to make. The business was not static. It just everything changed about it. The price of the apartment, the insurance cost, the taxes, the payroll, everything changed and became a thin margin business, at least in Texas. So that's why, I exited everything. I sold everything in state of Texas in September of 2021. And I still have some properties in Phoenix and Denver. And if a good deal comes along, I'll buy it. But basically, you need to have the margin of error. Because see, look, only God knows everything. And we ain't God, right? So you just have to be, you need to have the humility to agree with yourself that I don't know everything. Right? So that's why you need margin of error so that you don't lose people's money. Forget about making the money, but you shouldn't be losing the principal, right?
True.
So that margin of error has erased completely in state of Texas. That's why I left. But not to say that, if I see some good deals again, I'll come back right in. But for now, the market is still, even today, still hard, where it's hard to make sense out of the deals. And that's why I moved into the development game. But just to answer your question, right? So that is what I would say. I would select a market where my OPEX ratio is less and I have full control on it. The complaint I have about Texas is I don't control property taxes. Property taxes make up 50% of my expense bill. I don't control insurance and the weather god, right? Now I used to pay $200 a door and now it's $1,000. I recently heard somebody in Houston, they're paying $2,200 a unit on a C-class property. Heck, even A-class people don't pay that kind of insurance bill. I don't control that, right? So I don't like things that I cannot control, right? And also they make up a huge portion of your expense. So that's why I selected these Phoenix and Denver, where the property taxes is minuscule, your insurance is small, it doesn't go up like they do in the southern states. Okay. So I like states where my OPEX ratio is low, where I bring in $1 and I keep 60, 70, 80 cents on it. And then I pay for the mortgage. I still have money left to distribute to investors. The market selection is definitely number one, right? And the second thing is the vintage of the property. I'm telling you, the weather has changed, whether you call it climate change or whatever it is.
Okay.
The weather has changed. Its natural calamities are much more extreme. You saw the rains in California. You see the flooding that happens in Northeast. And Texas and Florida is open game. We get hit all the time, right? It wasn't like this 10 years back. 20 years back, it wasn't like that. So you need to buy into places and you need to buy that kind of assets which can withstand this kind of weather. Right? Last year in 2021, I had a bunch of properties in Dallas and I got hit by a Texas storm, right? Winter storm, where the temperature was 15 degrees for like a week. We are just not built to sustain that kind of weather. To withstand that kind of weather. And we had pipe breaks and pipe leaks and all that. So look into that, right? Buy a proper vintage. I'm not saying buy brand spanking new one, but you don't go for like 60, 70 properties anymore in certain markets. So watch out for that, right? And go in the property with enough cash cushion, right? Because that capex will happen. It's a certainty, right? Especially with
You're
the property less the capex requirement, right? So, and obviously the value add, right? That goes without saying. Make sure that you really have that value add and where you can actually raise the rents. And one other pitfall. I started with 100 units, 150 units and all that. And immediately I went to 50. The quick thing I learned there is when you are comping out, let's say you have a 300 unit property and let's say you have a 400 unit neighbor, maybe 50 unit neighbor.
Yeah.
Let's say they're getting $1.50 per rent.
Mm-hmm.
Being underwriting $1.50 per rent because that guy is getting $1.50 rent, it's not going to work. He has only 100 units to sell. I have 300 units to sell. I don't have the same pricing power as him. So I got to be at maybe $1.40, maybe $1.35, right? Something less than that guy so that I can actually use it. And I see so many people buy these bigger properties, just underwrite as if they're going to get that market rent on a 100 unit property. And you'll never hit those numbers. And then it's gone.
Wow.
So these are a few things. I know these are assorted items, but these are a few things I would say which will determine a good project versus a bad project.